welcome the woman who arrived first. My name is Maria Lane, 58 years old, divorced, and apparently the least welcome person in my own family. At least that's what my daughter-in-law, Clara, believes. Maria, there's no money, she told me last month. Arms folded, chin tilted like she was a queen addressing her servant. You stay home. The cruise is for you, me, your son, and the kids. Not you. I smiled politely. All right, dear. But inside, something burned hotter than the July sun in Queen's Land. Not anger, not jealousy, just the kind of quiet fire a mother feels when she's treated like yesterday's trash. My son, Evan, stood behind his wife, silent as always. He wasn't cruel. He was simply married to a woman who filled his head with so much noise. He no longer recognized his own mother's voice. I didn't argue. I didn't cry. I simply nodded and walked away with my heart squeezed tight like a fist. But what Claire didn't know and what Evan had forgotten was that I'm not helpless. Not financially, not emotionally, and certainly not when someone challenges my dignity. You see, 3 months ago, I received a surprising inheritance from an aunt no one even remembered existed. It wasn't massive, but it was enough to give me something I had never had in years. Freedom, privacy, power. So I booked a cabin. Not just any cabin, a premium ocean view suite on the exact same cruise they were taking. And I made very sure to check in early, the day of the cruise. When the ship's horn echoed across the port, I was already sitting on the upper deck, legs crossed, sunglasses on, sipping a cappuccino that tasted like melted heaven. The breeze was warm, the sea looked like polished sapphire, and for the first time in months, I felt light. Below me, passengers swarmed like ants, dragging luggage, yelling directions, trying to appear vacation-ready despite sweating buckets. And then there they were, Clara in her oversized sun hat, barking orders at the kids, Evan pulling 3 suitcases while juggling 2 backpacks, the children bouncing around with excitement. They passed beneath the deck where I sat, completely unaware that old left behind Maria was already living her best life. I should have stayed quiet. I should have let them enjoy their shock later during dinner when they finally discovered my presence. But the universe has a sense of humor. Clara happened to glance up. Her jaw dropped. Her sunglasses slid down her nose. Her face froze. Evan, noticing her stillness, looked up too. He blinked once, twice. Then he shouted so loudly half the passengers turned. Mum, are you stalking us? I took a calm sip of my cappuccino. Hello, darling. Clara's face twisted. What are you doing here? You weren't invited. Oh, I know, I said sweetly. But lucky for me, the ocean doesn't belong to you. Her mouth opened and closed like a confused goldfish. The kids, on the other hand, squealed with joy. Nana's here, and they ran toward the ship's ramp, nearly knocking over a porter in the process. Clara shot me a look sharp enough to slice metal, but I simply lifted my cup and smiled. See you on board, I called softly, and the ship sailed. Day 1, the unexpected storm. By evening, the ocean turned wild. Wind scraped across the deck. Waves slapped against the hull. The ship swayed so violently that people clutched railings, like they were the only lifelines they had. Clara, who had spent the afternoon bragging to random strangers about her exclusive family trip, was now a ghost green shade of seasickness. Evan tried to hold her steady, but he wasn't doing great himself. The kids loved it, of course. The ship is dancing, they shouted, sliding across the polished hallway floor as if it were a carnival ride. Me, I lived near the ocean long enough to know storms pass. So I simply walked down the quarter-com, steady, the only one unaffected. When I reached their cabin, I knocked gently. Claire opened the door, hair frizzed, mascara running like black rivers. What do you want? She croaked. To help, I replied softly. She stared at me for a long moment. Her pride wanted to slam the door. Her stomach wanted to collapse. Finally, she stepped aside. Inside, the cabin looked like a battlefield of half-open suitcases, spilled snacks, and children bouncing off the beds. I moved past her gently, picked up ginger candies from my pocket always prepared, and handed them to Evan. Give these to her, I said. They help. Evan didn't hesitate. He never hesitates with me. He trusts me. He just forgot. Within 20 minutes, the nausea eased. Her color returned. She sank into the bed with a shaky sigh. Thank you, she murmured, unable to meet my eyes. You're welcome, I said, placing a blanket over her shoulders. Day 2, the truth. The storm ended. The sun came out. The ship glowed like a floating resort. At breakfast, I sat alone, enjoying my omelet and fruit bowl. Suddenly, a shadow appeared across my table. It was Clara. She looked ashamed. Not angry, not dramatic, just human. May I sit? She asked quietly. I nodded. She sat, swallowed hard, and stared at her hands. I didn't want you to come, she began slowly, because I thought you didn't like me. And I know I'm not the easiest person. I know I can be controlling. Sometimes I feel like I have to be, because if I don't manage everything, things fall apart. Her voice cracked. I thought you judged me. I thought you didn't think I was good enough for Evan. This hit me like cold water. Clara, I said gently, I never thought you weren't good enough. I only felt distant, like you didn't want me around. Her eyes softened. I was scared, she whispered. Scared you'd take the kids' love. Scared you'd outshine me. Scared you'd replace me. Oh, sweetheart, I laughed softly. No one can replace a mother, and I would never try. Her eyes glistened. I'm sorry, she breathed. I'm so sorry. I reached out, placed my hand on hers, and squeezed. Let's start again, I said simply, and she nodded. Day 4, the family we became. For the rest of the cruise, things changed. The kids clung to me like koalas. Evan sat with me every morning for coffee. Clara talked not like an enemy, but like a daughter who had finally opened her heart. We laughed. We ate together. We watched sunsets. On the last night, Clara turned to me. You know, she said, smiling shyly, I am glad you came. And for the first time ever, I believed her. I sipped my drink, watching the moon shimmer on the waves. Sometimes life doesn't give you the family you want, but sometimes, with patience, courage, and a little bold surprise, you can transform the family you already have. Thank you so much, my story. Watch Goodbye.